10.
When something happens once, you can mark it down as a mistake, but a second, third, or fourth time, then something needs to be fixed. A man is once again cleaning up his yard after a car crashed, and he says something has to be done about that road because this is the fourth time this has happened. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer shares this man's story, who says reducing the speed limit where he lives or fixing the curve will make things safer for everyone.
If you follow the path of the vehicle, it would have went right into the neighbor's home probably if that mailbox wasn't there. Someone lucky they're not dead.
Bob Foote and his wife awoke to a startling sight.
Went to the front window and saw a car flip upside down on its hood.
The driver of the vehicle was heading southbound on South Rivershore Drive when he failed to negotiate a curve. This is an all too familiar sight for Bob. In fact, this has happened around 7 other times on his street.
Me personally, at this residence, this is our 4th time that our mailbox has been destroyed.
Bob is concerned about the rate of speed people are driving on the curb. He even bought a sturdier mailbox, but that didn't stop the driver from destroying it.
My mailbox, which weighs about 1,000 pounds, has been pushed off its base about 35 feet, and half of it ended up in the neighbor's yard.
Bob, along with his neighbors, are fed up and they want something to change. He believes speed enforcement signs wouldn't be enough.
It's fallen on deaf ears at the moment, so I guess I would invite the people of the commission to come down here and take a look at this and see what the reality is.
The speed limit in the neighborhood is 30 miles per hour. Bob wants drivers to slow down before the curve becomes deadly. In Moorhead, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
Foote says the driver involved in the accident left before police could show up, but he believes the man was caught and the passenger got help from the Foote family. If you were driving in Polk County over the weekend, you may have seen a high-speed chase that got up to 99 miles per hour in Lowell Township after a Polk County Sheriff's deputy tried to pull someone over. Now, while the car was heading towards Crookston, a state trooper was able to use spike strips on the car, using the vehicle to come to a stop after a time. Now, the driver's name was Jenny Wright, and she was arrested on charges of fleeing a police officer and a motor vehicle, fourth degree WDWI, and possession of drug and paraphernalia. Crookston police also assisted in the chase, and no one was hurt during the pursuit. The Trump administration's move this week to cut back on free birth control and tighten abortion restrictions could add up to an unintended consequence, according to experts. Women will have more abortions. On Friday, the administration rolled back a key Obamacare requirement for most employers to provide free birth control as part of health insurance coverage. The new rules would allow just about any employer to opt out of the birth control requirement, provided they show a sincerely held religious or moral objection. A study of more than 9,000 women, however, found that when women got no-cost birth control, the number of unplanned pregnancies and abortions fell by between 62 and 78%. Planned Parenthood in Fargo says they wish the administration would pay attention to those numbers.
To deny access to birth control coverage through insurance for women is a full-on assault on reproductive rights. What we do know is that unintended pregnancies are at a historic low in our country, that teen pregnancy rates are as low as they've ever been, and in fact, abortion is at its lowest rate since Roe v. Wade, and that is because women have access to birth control.
The American Civil Liberties Union says they're going to be suing the Trump administration over this decision. Indigenous people and other community members came together today to discuss how to better address problems facing Native Americans. The group got together the day before several cities celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. A spiritual leader in the group says this conversation has received more attention in light of the murder of Savannah Graywin. Legislation was introduced by Senator Heidi Heitkamp this past week, named in honor of Savannah, to combat the mostly silent epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women. The 2018 election is a little over a year away, but Democrats in North Dakota aren't wasting any time. Democrats in Cass County held a phone bank today, asking voters what issues they cared about the most. The 2018 midterm elections are especially important to North Dakota Democrats because Senator Heitkamp is a lone Democrat in a state that voted primarily for Trump in the past election, making her especially vulnerable this next election. These volunteers know this, so that's why they were not waiting around.
The whole idea is that we are listening to the issues that are most important to everybody, because that's what we're going to be focusing on. So that's how we're going to do a better job of reaching everybody and of making sure that we have a platform that helps out everybody in the state, is making sure that we've heard everybody's voices.
Representative Kevin Cramer is taking a page tonight out of Trump's book. He took to social media today to let his followers know that heroes don't make touchdowns or take sacks, that heroes actually wear military uniforms and protect NFL players' rights to be ungrateful whiners. Cramer's tweet came in response to Vice President Mike Pence tweeting about leaving an NFL game after watching players kneel. We'll have more on Pence and what game he left coming up a little later on Valley News Live 10 at 10. After the untimely death of a 17-year-old on the campus of North Dakota State University last month, some students say they don't like how the university has handled the situation, basically offering their condolences but not ways to stop this from happening again. We talked to two members of Theta Chi, a fraternity at NDSU, and they both tell us no matter what the university is or isn't doing, their organization will do their part by putting on events like A Night to Remember, where the topics of alcohol and drug abuse, along with sexual assault, can be addressed and hopefully stopped.
The point of hosting Night to Remember was to promote awareness against sexual assault and alcohol abuse, because parties are actually like the main place where it takes place.
Theta Chi members Aditya Sinha and Derek Hotzenbuehler say their fraternity takes on those tough issues college kids face.
We do take these things really seriously, and we take stands against alcohol abuse, sexual assault, hazing, very seriously.
In an opinion piece from the NDSU student newspaper, The Spectrum, the writer accused the university of being silent about the death of 17-year-old Devin Delaney. We reached out to The Spectrum for this story, but their editor-in-chief declines an interview. However, these Theta Chis were willing to share their thoughts, which they say are pretty similar to a lot of people on campus.
I think the campus should do more in terms of safe ways to go about different things like that, because I think it still is kind of like a just don't do it at all, or don't tell anyone about it, like keep it behind closed doors. And I think that's kind of dangerous, and like if you can't talk to anyone about it, then how are you supposed to fix issues?
Whether it's alcohol and drug abuse or sexual assault, Hotzenbuehler says the university should speak up, but they should also encourage campus groups to address these issues as well.
I think it's more beneficial if, like a fraternity and women and gender studies partner and bring in a speaker, or if another organization brings in a speaker, because I think when the campus does it, everyone just kind of brushes it off because they think it's something required, or it's just something that the campus is doing because they have to.
We talked to several students at NDSU who tell us they've received a flyer telling them if they need to talk to someone, that help is available on campus. No new information has been released in Devin Delaney's death because his family from Burnsville, Minnesota has used Marsy's Law to stop that information from being released. Today kicks off National Fire Prevention Week, and the Moorhead Fire Department is aiming to educate children as early as possible about fire safety. Checking smoke alarms once a month is encouraged by the department, along with changing the batteries once a year. This year's campaign is focusing on knowing 2 ways out of each room in case one of the exits is blocked by a fire. An open house was held to remind the public of safety tips to keep in mind. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum asked all flags to be flown at half-staff today to honor fallen firefighters. Some colorful pumpkins and talented kids were out and about in West Fargo today. The annual Autumn Pumpkin Party was held at Veterans Memorial Stadium this afternoon, and kids got a chance to paint pumpkins, bounce on inflatables, and make crafts to their heart's content. The goal of the event is to encourage creativity in children while still having some fun and avoiding some hassles for the parents. Organizers say the nice weather helped turnout to reach just shy of around 700 people.